Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Road to Grandmaster. Today we're just going to kind of go over some of the things I've learned during my matches, namely my grip, what it was like before, what it's like now, the different kind of tips and tricks that I picked up along the way, some of the advice I got after a stage was shot. But first I want to thank the sponsor of our video today, Big Iron Bullets. We've gone over Big Iron Bullets before. Great company. Jerry Ewing and his guys make amazing rounds. I really enjoy to use them. Very clean, very crisp. The way they go about doing them, I don't understand the whole process. I haven't had a chance to go check out their facility yet, but all I know is that accuracy is on point with Big Iron Bullets. So if you're ever in the opportunity that you're wanting to kind of play around with your loads, keep Big Iron Bullets in mind. Like I've said, I've used Blue Bullets, Black Bullets International, a few other different ones that I picked up here and there just to see, and by far the one that I enjoy the most is Big Iron. So when you have an opportunity, www.bigironbullets.com, give Jerry a call, shoot him a text, have him send an email, let him know what you're after. He'll get you some information, let you know what you're looking for. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. When I first started competing in USPSA, my grip was terrible. You know, for somebody who was studying to be a concealed carry instructor, I allowed the firearm to recoil quite a bit. I was accurate. Maybe my splits, my follow-up shots weren't quite as accurate and clean, but I was still accurate, you know, so I was happy knowing what I thought I knew. Thomas came to me and wanted me to shoot that initial match. That way I had the opportunity to deal with stress and really see what I could do and what I couldn't do. And that was, like I said, it was a game changer for me. I mean, here I'm sitting with an empty grip for a 6-hour. When I first started shooting, I always felt that I had to have my hand obviously indexed, but I wasn't choked up on the beaver tail as you should be. I kind of hung out down here when I should have been more up here. Just felt better in my hand. I felt like it wasn't as intrusive. Not being in a situation where I needed to feel the stress or what it would feel like under stress, that's what was comfortable for me. And then secondary, you know, I was never a cup and saucer kind of guy, but secondly, I preferred guns with the Picatinny on them. That way I could put my thumb down inside of the Picatinny like that, and then I would shoot forward from that, you know. That was how, I didn't necessarily, I mean, I never had a class because I didn't instruct, I wasn't certified yet. I had worked with people individually, friends and family, stuff like that, just helping them become more accurate, get more comfortable with the firearm, not so much actually, you know, instructing good marksmanship. As my time in the sport progressed, and it was really quickly, you know, I had mentioned I started out with Glock. Glocks and I don't get along. I was all over the paper. I mean, I was 3 yards from a piece of paper and I was Alpha Charlie in that thing every time, you know, I went into that array. So I knew that my grip needed a lot of work if I was going to go fast and not suffer in my points. I wanted to be able to not have to slow down, just be a better marksman. So I started to refine how I was going to hold it. And like I said, you know, obviously empty, safe, nothing going on here. With the 6-hour, I found that, you know, they have their ergonomics built in to where it kind of feels like home. What I did find is that the upper part of the patch of my palm, I like to have choked up right underneath there, and then I would use their takedown lever, which is, you know, obviously in that hole. I would use that as my index. Not so far forward, but up a little higher. Wrist locking. I've never been great at it. You know, I've tried all the tricks. I've tried, you know, focusing, bearing down on your arms. I've tried squeezing the life out of the grip, and I've tried, you know, really focusing on, you know, squeezing with your pinkies. Should help you lock your wrists more. Whether I do it or not, I don't know. I can't tell you definitively. Like I said, I go through and I do a stage, and I can't tell you exactly what I did after I did it. I have to go back and watch the footage. So for those of you that do, you know, I'd love to hear from you and give me your opinion on what you do that makes your shots more accurate, your follow-up shots more accurate. Whether it's like I said, squeezing the life out of the grip, or it's locking your pinkies, or whatever. I mean, I found that in limited I can get away with a lot more than what I can with production, you know, so I have a thumb rest on my Tanfo. I can really wrench forward on that thing and lean into the shots. I can feel like I can drive the firearm better with that, so that I'm not focusing so much of my energy and my effort and getting the fatigue of just squeezing the life out of it. So, I mean, like I said, I'd love to hear from you guys and what you're doing. I always take advice, so please, you know, if there's things that are working for you, I haven't thought of yet, I haven't worked on, please feel free to share. You know, I always appreciate it. One of the other things I wanted to talk about in terms of grip was when you're doing a one-handed stage. You know, that one I find that I more often than not I am squeezing the life out of the gun, you know, but I find myself shaking, so you have to back it off, especially when you're holding a firearm that's as heavy as, you know, a P320, you know, or the X5 Legion for that matter. My Tanfolio is super heavy as well. So when you're doing it, the one-handed shooting, I always find that I shake, you know, and then you really have to work on your trigger manipulation in order to get, you know, a clean break of the trigger, and you're not pulling, you know, left, too much finger in the trigger, whatever the situation may be. That one took a lot for me to get used to. As soon as I got used to it on the SIG, then I switched over to the Tanfoglio, and I struggled. The slide cycles so fast on that gun that the follow-up, the first shot was always great. The follow-up shot, I was searching because I couldn't keep the barrel down for the follow-up shot on the split. So I would have to get a whole new sight picture. So one-handed stuff generally seemed to be super slow. I know some guys, kind of my coach, my mentor Thomas, he's big into forearm strength. You know, he has those little squeeze bars that you do for workouts, and he said once you can get like not the beginner squeeze bar, but the squeeze thing, whatever, this giant nutcracker looking thing, once you get up a level and you're to the second level of that, the tighter one, is you can hold a credit card in between the two bars when you squeeze it. Then you know you're making progress, and that's kind of in the realm that you want to be. I've watched him go, and his hands are white. He's squeezing the frame of that thing so hard when he goes and he starts his stages. So, you know, maybe there's some truth to it. I need to listen to him a little bit more and start working out on the old forearms. But I find that when I do super wrench down on the firearm, that when I shoot, my whole arms move up. You know, when I'm locked in and I'm hard on the squeeze, on the grip, when I crack that shot at that target, the whole thing moves. And I mean, it moves my arms. I like to let the gun recoil, you know, so I won't do it so hard, and I'll take a wrist flick instead of moving my arms, because I can snap the firearm back down and get my sight picture, what I feel, a heck of a lot quicker than what I can if I'm shooting and then I'm having to bring the gun down. I shoot and I have to bring the gun down. So I don't wrench down on it so terribly much that I'm having to make those big corrections. Again, I think that's kind of everybody's preferences. You know, I'd like to know more about what you guys think and where you go in terms of comfortability and how you guys proceed with it. My grip has evolved over the last year that I've been doing it. Like I said, when I started before, I was Alpha Charlie in at 3 yards. Now anymore, I mean, I can be 10, 15 yards off paper, crack off a .18 split and still be, you know, center alpha, high alpha in a lot of cases, sometimes low alpha depending on which stage it is. You know, one part that drives me crazy about USPSA is that you come in cold, you have no time to go crack a few rounds off and get a little warm working on it. You go in cold. I mean, just your dry fire practice either that morning or the night before. Maybe sometimes you slip off to the range before a match if it starts late enough. But going in cold, my first stage is always a grade 8 dumpster fire in most cases. So I have to really focus the rest of the day to be able to finish. And I know that's a weak spot in my game, and that's something that I'm working on to get better, because I know once I get better and can go perform at that first stage and score, you know, 7, 8, 9 hit factors in the first stage and follow it up the rest of the day, I'm going to score a lot. Excuse me, I'm going to score a lot higher during my match. Thankfully, my saving grace is that classifiers usually aren't first. So depending on where you're at, I've been lucky enough that the squatting I've been in, I haven't landed on a classifier as my first stage, because that would be terrible for my road to Grandmaster. It's not going the best anyway. You know, I shot a classifier a month ago at our Eden, Colorado match, the Weld County Fish and Wildlife match. I can't tell you the name of it, but it was two poppers sitting directly in front of you at 15 yards, and then 2 pieces of paper on each side. And we did a Virginia count. And when I fired on it, I smacked the back steel twice because it was in my head, go fast, go fast. I smacked the back steel twice, went to paper on the left side, engaged the paper on the left, had an Alpha Charlie, and then the paper on the right, I had an Alpha Mike. You know, it was too quick. I went too fast. So just that little issue, I scored 0 hit factor on it. So that one took a shot. But luckily, this next weekend, next Sunday, Father's Day, actually, I get to spend my Father's Day with my son at the range. We're going back to Weld, and to what I've heard rumors, I can't confirm nor deny it, but they're having a super classifier. So we're talking 5 or 6 stage classifiers, so everybody can that isn't classified can get classified, and those that are hoping to move up a number, you know, move up a letter in their classification ranking can do so. So by this weekend, we're going to see where we land. I'm really hoping for an A. I'm forcing myself to slow down, and I'm really focusing more on good hits. I mean, if I land in an A, I'll be a happy guy. I mean, ultimately, I want to be, you know, an A, I'm a master. But landing in the A classification, I would be tickled pink considering how poorly I shoot a classifier. My mentor, Thomas, he's the same way. You know, he goes and he's fast and he's so much fun to watch. The only stages I've ever got him on in any match we've done together for over a year, it's a classifier, you know. And it was a year ago. A year ago this month, I believe, is the match that I got him on. Maybe it was the July match. I can't remember for certain, but I had a great match. I had a great stage. It was, I didn't get him overall by any means, but I did. I won overall on that, and we had some good guys here, and it was like it was showing progress. It was showing, you know, we're improving. So, but he's like me, you know, or I should say I'm more like him. When it comes to the classifier, you got to go quick. You want to get that master. You want to get that Grandmaster. And I know I have a tall order opting to shoot limited minor. You know, I mean, we're talking they got to be alpha hits and they have to be fast. And a lot of guys they'll score master and they're shooting major in limited, and they're so fast, but they don't have to worry about the sight picture as much. They can just throw shots. And if you Alpha Charlie or Alpha, you know, Alpha Alpha and then Alpha Charlie, it's not that big of a deal. You know, as long as you're quick enough and you're scoring Alpha Charlies and you're hitting your steel for a shot, you know, you'll Grandmaster if you're fast enough, you know, and you do have some good accuracy. I wanted to pat myself on the back the day that I achieved Grandmaster in minor in limited, because I mean, that's fast and it's a good sight picture. It makes me just an overall better marksman, you know, so that's my goal. So with that being said, guys, you know, happy Father's Day. If I don't get a message to you, a video to you next week by Father's Day, I plan to, but with the match coming up, my Saturday is going to be a lot of dry fire practice. I got a barbecue to go to for my significant other's dad, great dude, so I'm going to go spend the day with him. So if I don't see you, have a happy Father's Day, and we'll see you next time.